with the school district. So the school district does not see the benefit from that taxpayer. And these are the bases for my opposition. I don't think, despite what you said about this being a common practice, I don't think this needs to be a common practice in Maplewood. I don't think it needs to be a common practice on prime real estate right in the center of our village. And I certainly don't think that we should be giving tax breaks to developers and then either the schools have to do more with less or the rest of us basically get soaked and have to pay additional taxes because we gave a tax break to a developer. To address your second question about what I would like to see there, I would like to see adaptive reuse at least explored. The current structure, we've been told by engineers, can support a second floor. While I'm not an environmental expert on asbestos removal, my understanding is that the costs of doing that are of whatever we would have to do to adapt and reuse the building is no greater than the cost the town is going to spend to demolish the building and do the environmental cleanup anyway. So I'm not sure you're talking apples and apples there. And the part of the problem here is that we've never had a chance to find out what ideas developers and the community would have for a repurposed building, because from day one, the township committee said that it had to be demolished and there had to be a mixed-use building there. So all of the proposals that came in fit the RFP. And if we take a second look, I think we can get some great ideas and give the community some options.
Thank you. Is anyone, Jerry?
My opponent just said that the township gets less money from a pilot than it would get if the property was on the tax rolls. My opponent is wrong, factually wrong about that. Factually wrong. When a property is on the property tax rolls, the township gets a small percentage of the property tax revenue, 22, 23%. The pilot payment that goes to the township is higher than that. And this isn't a secret. The details of pilot agreements are all in writing. They're all public documents. They're all on the town's website. These are discussed at our meetings. My opponent's incorrect. Excuse me. And you can just look at the numbers and see that. There are pilots that were granted in this community that helped to make defunct brownfield properties into viable apartment developments. I don't think that the apartments next door would have happened without a temporary, well, not temporary, without a tax abatement to help get that building built. So I think in the places where pilots were granted, like the PSE&G site and like next door, long-term pilots were good. They were good to get non-performing properties or troubled properties active and built up and developed, and I think that was a good thing. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say.
Do you want to add anything, Nancy?
I'll let them battle this one out for a minute.
Yeah, no, Jerry, I really think what you just said is very misleading. Yes, the town may receive slightly more money from the pilot than it would on the tax rolls, but the town receives only a fraction of every tax dollar to begin with. The schools receive nearly 60 cents, something like 58 cents in Maplewood on every tax dollar. The developer is not paying that. So the fact that the town is taking a little bit more at the expense of the schools getting nothing is the end result. And that's, and if the developers were paying more money under a pilot, they wouldn't ask for a pilot.
You can't say in one sentence that the town's getting less, and then in the next sentence say that the town's getting a little bit more. No, I beg your pardon.
The schools are part of the town, Jerry.
The numbers tell the story, and it is also a myth to say that granting a pilot takes one nickel from the schools. It's just not true.
We'll let the voters decide.
For one more question. Yes.
My name's Erin Scherzer. I'm the head of the College Hill Neighborhood Association. I have a question. Let's change the debate on the post office here and shift up to Springfield Avenue, which is in all of our backyards. There's a measure coming before the Township Committee next month, and I'm not sure if many individuals in the room are aware of this. As we know, Wawa is looking to move to right across from the PSE&G site. And as part of their application, as we know, they want a gas station. And as a town, we have a zoning ordinance prohibiting 24-hour gas stations. The business has made a request to the township to change said ordinance instead of using the process through the zoning Board of Zoning Adjustment. To our three individuals, and thank you for your willingness to step up to bat and try to serve our community. How would you, if you were on the Township Committee June 3rd, when this may come before, how would you address this issue? What are your thoughts on 24-hour businesses here in Maplewood? And how would you work with this business while respecting the needs of our community to have safe and prosperous area?
Okay, I will start with
I didn't talk about it.
Nancy, it's your turn.
It's my turn. Thanks, Erin. I've made my opinion on this issue known on the planning board, and have asked in the past the township committee to look into limiting hours of operation for our businesses to less than 24 hours. I worry about the effect on neighborhoods, that especially those around Springfield Avenue that are so close to the business district, to the commercial district. I worry about the effect of 24-hour businesses. I think the crime statistics from the police department also show that a lot of their calls are because of these 24-hour businesses. I don't think, I've asked this to be looked at. It's something that if I get elected, I will look into as well. Other towns, including South Orange next door, do not allow 24-hour businesses. We don't allow parking on the streets, on residential streets overnight for safety reasons, so that the police can easily see when there's something amiss. 24-hour businesses make it more difficult to have that happen. I'm not in favor of allowing Wawa to operate their gas pumps that late, to have vehicles going in and out and disturbing the neighbors around there so that they get gas just for this. They're already coming here. I don't know if it's necessary to then give this up to them. They've already spent a lot of money developing the site. I don't know the details of the negotiations of whether or not this is a do or die situation for them, but I gotta believe there's a way to save Maplewood from that. And I would move that, other than the grandfathered businesses, I'd like to eliminate 24-hour businesses in town.
Greg, did you want to add something?
I'll just add a little bit. I think Nancy did a good job of laying out the concerns that all of us in the community have about 24-hour business, particularly a 24-hour gas station, which we currently don't have, and as Erin noted, is prohibited by ordinance. My understanding is actually from what the mayor said the other night at the meeting that and Mr. Desiderio, that this may be a deal breaker for Wawa.
I was in bed with throat.
I know, but that this may be a deal breaker, and I think we'd have to consider with lots of community input. So I think the meeting may actually be June 16th, where the ordinance is going to come up, and there'll be at least 2 hearings on this before the Township Committee, and I would encourage all of you in the community that have a strong feeling on this to come out, because one thing I heard from everyone on the Township Committee and that I agree with is, they want to see how the community feels. There's benefits, but there's also a lot of concerns, and I think we have to really see how the community feels, and ultimately, if what Wawa wants to do is not in the best interest of the community, and that's a deal breaker for them, then the deal is broken.
Jerry?
I think we had this discussion at our last Township Committee meeting, and I agreed with the notion of going forward with drafting an ordinance so that we could have a frank and open public discussion and get public input. I don't have a predetermined yes or no answer to this. I want to think about it a little bit. I want to read what ends up getting drafted, and I want to hear from people what people think. I think that there may be places where 24-hour operation would be acceptable, but I'd like to see what might be proposed. I'd like to see what's drafted, and I'd like to hear from people. But I think if it turns out that it doesn't work for the community, then it doesn't work for Maplewood, and we shouldn't do it. But I think we've got some good discussion as a community to help us make up our minds about that.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Get out. Seriously?
Have a birthday drink.
Okay, yes.
Michelle Barbaro. My question is, I know several seniors who have had to move out of town because they cannot afford to stay here anymore. What are your solutions for keeping not only our seniors, but also our workforce population to make Maplewood affordable for them?
Okay, if you can still explain this.
Yes, and this is something that all of us also had the opportunity to address last Saturday at the Senior Forum. And one thing that I've been saying consistently that I want to see is if we're going to look at the development of high-density apartment housing in Maplewood, we should really prioritize age-restricted housing for seniors. I've heard from many people in our community who've had to move out or are considering the unfortunate possibility of having to leave the community they love, that they've helped build, where they've raised their families, because they can no longer afford to stay in their home because of the taxes. And that hurts all of Maplewood. That doesn't just hurt our seniors. We need generational diversity. Having elders in our community is crucial. It's something that really has hit home to me as I've gotten to learn the Lakota culture, and where they value their elders and the environment above all, and that's become a part of my worldview. So I think we should do all that we can to promote development of age-restricted senior housing, and that's actually a project for which I would support a pilot, because it wouldn't be producing any new school children, and it would help to keep taxpayers here in Maplewood and maintain our generational diversity.
Thank you. Jerry?
I think this is probably another topic that we're all in violent agreement on. I think we had a long, open discussion about this at the Senior Forum last weekend, and I think we all recognize that the ridiculous overdependence on property taxes to fund government services puts us in this terrible situation where folks who are on fixed incomes, folks who are retired, don't have the salary growth or the ability to continue to pay. And I think we have to think about creative solutions, not just for age-restricted housing, although I think that's a good idea, but for partnerships with other organizations to try and help seniors find a way to stay. I think that's all I have to say on that one.
One more question?
Oh, wait, I don't get to
I'm
answer. Normally I'd be like, cool, I didn't have to answer that, but I'd rather answer it. I do want to, and like my fellow men up here said, we had a lot of discussion about senior services, senior needs in our community, and of course cost of living and cost of property taxes and everything was a big part of it. We need to work with our state representatives and try to push for the ability to be able to give breaks to our seniors in order to stay in their homes through the property tax breaks that other states like Connecticut apparently allow their different municipalities to offer to their seniors. There's also, I know that the new village president in South Orange was very active in senior, even doing the prom and things like that. So this is obviously near and dear to her heart. I'd like to work with her and with other organizations, Boy Scouts, and things to try to help seniors by, and our school students, to help seniors through former group that my daughter was in at Columbia High School with students serving seniors. So if we can get some help for the seniors that would be no cost to them, whether it's helping them maintain their homes, mow their lawns, take care of their snow removal, things like that, so that they can stay there longer and save money on things that they would normally have to pay to have done for them. So I think there's opportunities there, but it takes a lot of collaboration between towns and between groups within the town.
None of us mentioned senior Uber.
Senior Uber,
Senior Uber, right? Senior Uber,
yeah.
Senior
Super.
Uber.
Super.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Hi, Corey Wolf. I live in the Hilton section. I'm Revere. I had a question in two parts. One is directed to Mr. Bryan. Can you please elaborate on how your views of municipal development differ from Mr. Lembrick's? Okay, and then secondly,